Hi, everyone. I just wanted to invite you to a very special event that we're having. You know, at Vibrance for Life, we like to do cutting edge treatments and we want to give you the latest and the greatest to help you unleash your health and live the best life that you can. So Kathy and I conferred. We have many years of experience helping people uncover food sensitivities, heal autoimmune conditions, lose weight, relieve mental fog, relieve aches and pains, and so many other symptoms that can occur due to food sensitivities. And I have Kathy here, my nutrition coach, who's
Oh,
absolutely awesome.
thank you.
We're gonna talk about the questions that come up. She'll talk about the questions that come to her. I'll talk about the questions that come to me because we want you to be informed and we invite you to this event. So Kathy, why don't you start and tell us what kind of questions do you get about food?
There's so much that people don't understand. Unfortunately, people today are suffering with so many symptoms that have become normal. You know, we see the
Yes.
advertisements on TV for all these medications, for all these symptoms, as if that's the way you're always supposed to live. And because their other doctors don't ask them ever what it is that you're eating, they don't really know how much power they have over the symptoms that really drag them down every single day. And so a lot of what we do with both diet and testing is help people determine which foods are creating problems for them that if they go away, they can lose weight, they can sleep better, they can have more energy. And it really happens in a very short period of time, which is very motivating for people who think that, you know, it takes years for the body to heal, when in truth, the turnaround happens within weeks.
It does. And I've been doing this for many years. And what I decided to do, because so many people are reluctant to do this type of detox, food elimination, and reintroduction, no matter what I tell them, and some of them just don't want to do it. And that's really where they don't know what they're sensitive to. And I tell people, look, if you're in a room with a bad smell, after a while, you don't smell it anymore, right? And they're all like, yeah, yeah. I said, you have to leave the room, clear your receptors, and then when you come back in the room, it's like, wow, what happened? I didn't know. Was there a smell all along? Yes, and that's the same thing that happens with food sensitivities. People feel less than themselves. They feel crappy, and they don't really understand why, because like you said, it's their normal. So
Right.
uncovering those food sensitivities is really important because I avoid putting people on medications and supplements, and they are relieved of so many symptoms within 2 weeks, less
Yes.
than 2 weeks sometimes. So I really, what the reason why we're bringing in the Vibrant America, as you well know, sometimes people either don't want to detox and or they're confused when they add the food back in. The symptoms are so subtle they can't really tell. So that's why this Vibrant America test is something that I'm excited about. It can really, shine a light on what a person may be sensitive to
No,
without having,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm really excited about it as well. You know, we do take people through the elimination diet all the time at the office, and it is still considered the gold standard. And it is wonderful from the point that it's experiential, and it's very motivating when you go from feeling crappy to feeling amazing in a short period of time. It's makes you want to continue forward and do the next right thing. But very often these, as you said, the reintroduction is where we determine which of the foods are causing a problem. And in the beginning, the symptoms can often be very subtle. So people don't always connect the dots. So they start reintroducing foods, and then a couple weeks down the road, they feel awful again. And they don't understand why. So the combination of the two, between doing the elimination and having the blood work done, is very powerful in allowing you to experience what normal is supposed to feel like and how amazing you can be at any age, regardless of what the calendar says.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then having the proof with the blood work makes it something that gives you a really good roadmap as to how you can stay healthy at every age.
Well, I remember we had a patient in common, you know, because I see them first sometimes. Sometimes you see them first, but he always complained of low energy, and he wasn't convinced that anything in his diet was causing it. And we did the food sensitivity test, and he lit up like a Christmas tree. And the difference was, I mean, now there's so much better technology, because when I used to order tests, they would just test IgE, which is for allergy. Allergy is like you swell up, you can't breathe, it's a sudden, it's very acute, it's a life-threatening emergency, but that's not what most food sensitivity is.
Right.
You know, your gut has most of your immune system, and if you're stressed out, stress breaks down the barriers. Like if everything's nice and closed and tight, you keep out the bad stuff, you open the doors, let in the good stuff, but stress wears you out, or having foods that you're sensitive wears you down, and eating on the run and not digesting your foods can irritate the gut lining, and infection can do it, antibiotics, medications, toxins. So things break down, and when the gut barrier breaks down, those sentinel antibodies, IgA, that are out there watching, looking for stuff, they get confused. They see a food that's not quite digested, or the food is irritating them, and they send out all these chemical signals that are the underlying cause of these symptoms of just not feeling right. So now with Vibrant America, we used to be you could only test IgE or IgA, and only one or two proteins. Proteins are made up of amino acids. Amino acids are built up to form peptides, and then you get the big medulla protein. This test tests, 33,000 peptides. And it'll test like if you're testing wheat, it will test every part of the wheat, not just the one protein for celiac. And there's a big difference between celiac, which is an autoimmune disorder, and sensitivity. There's a spectrum. Celiac is you're losing weight, you're highly allergic, your gut lining is shot. Where sensitivities is you're feeling all these not so right symptoms. So I'm very excited about this test because it goes deeper and you can find more, and it's much more sensitive than the form of testing that we had.
And it's so important, so often I hear people say, well, why would I even want to know that? I don't want to know if I have leaky gut or if I have a breach of the blood-brain barrier, when in truth, the body heals itself very quickly and very beautifully when you know exactly what you should be doing. When you ignore these symptoms and you just cover them up with medications to quiet the noise, you're only looking at a very big problem down the road. So when you have the willingness to address it early on, figure out what your body likes and what it doesn't like, it starts to heal very quickly, and then you avoid all kinds of diseases that for today that we have no known cure.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many people come in with antibodies to their thyroid. Hashimoto's thyroiditis is the most common autoimmune disease in the US, the most common cause of low thyroid. And a lot of people come in because of weight, moods are bad, they're down in the dumps, they're gaining weight, they don't have the energy, they don't have the mental clarity, and sometimes it's thyroid. And if I figure out, they have antibodies, I do some blood testing for that, and then we figure out the foods that they're sensitive to, they stay away from it. I have people over 10 years that they never needed to go on thyroid hormone. And when I have people that come too late, 20 years later, they're hypothyroid, they're on all the different thyroid medications, and they're still not feeling good because they're stimulating their immune system.
Oh, sorry about that.
That always happens. It happens to me all the time. This is live, by the way. So and then I had a woman that came in with terrible rheumatoid arthritis, had been on Humira, and these are pretty toxic immune suppressant drugs, and they're very, very expensive. Right. She got rid of it entirely. entirely. So it's not just for autoimmune, it's for, or mood, energy, and weight. It can help GERD, gastrointestinal reflux disease, that heartburn. I can't tell you how many people it's cured when they figure out what foods are bothering them. So that this is why I encourage people to get a good look, because if you do the testing first and then you do the diet, you get better, and the testing may confirm what the elimination and reintroduction does.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about this. And I'm glad you're pointing out that a food intolerance often isn't a stomach ache. People think if they eat a food and they get a belly ache, then they have a problem, but they don't associate it with their eczema, psoriasis, their migraine headaches, their body aches and pains, their fatigue, so many symptoms that we just don't think about having to do with what we're eating. And especially the brain. So many people that come to us today are having difficulty focusing, concentrating, and remembering. They're afraid that it's their age or that they're starting to lose their faculties. And within a short period of time, again, removing the foods that are causing problems, they're back to being sharp and with it again.
Absolutely. I see it every day, and it's pretty miraculous how fast it happens. And people said, I didn't even know I could feel this good. Yeah. I got my life back. What did you do? What is this? So, but sometimes people just don't really, they're not as in tuned, or the symptoms are not so evident when they reintroduce the foods. Some people, it's very clear. Like, I know if I put in milk in my coffee, within a half hour, I get postnasal drip. But some people, it's not obvious enough, and that's really where the testing comes in. But I want to assure people that certain conditions like celiac, you should never go back to whatever food is bothering you, because that's life-threatening. But I can say from my own personal experience, I learned this, and I did this many, many years ago. I had to be on antibiotics long-term because I contracted something from a patient in the emergency room, and I just started developing a lot of food sensitivities. I did the elimination diet. I was off the foods for 3 months, and then for years, I was able to go back on the stuff. I didn't do it every day, but I was able to eat whatever I wanted to. But I tell people, I've had recurrences over the years. When you're stressed, when you're tired, when you have an infection, when you go on medications, you're less tolerant to people, places, things, and food. And your food sensitivities can change over time. So that it's not a life sentence for most people, but you can change your food sensitivities once you heal your gut. Because I was able for years and years to eat whatever I wanted, and then, big stressors occurred, and then I was back to having food sensitivities, and then I eliminated for a while, and then I was back to having them, smaller quantities, less frequently. But that's me personally, and that's many people, but everybody's an individual. What's your experience with that, Kathy?
I think that's a wonderful way to explain that, because we don't have a set plan that everybody should follow. The goal of working with you at Vibrance for Life and with these testings is to be able to create the unique program that works best for your individual body. And that is always going to be changing as time goes on. Your level of activity, your stress level, your home life. So as that changes, your diet and your health changes along with it. And so you need to really come to know yourself and what it feels like when you're operating at its best. Being able to catch something at an early point and knowing, what, this doesn't feel right, and being able to get to the root cause of it will prevent you from having to deal with anything horrible down the road, more than likely. It's one of the best parts about functional medicine is that it's very highly individual, and it's always, as you change, you can change your diet along with it.
And that's really where you come in, and I value having you in the clinic, because when I had to do it all myself, I didn't have the time to go through that. But you have so much knowledge, so much wisdom, so much experience, and you can walk people through it. And it's not just about the food. As I said,
No.
when you're stressed, when you're tired, when you're not taking care of yourself, when you're, you're exposed to toxins and your hormones are off, there's so many different factors. And, that's the beauty. You help people recognize that and give them tools and strategies, not only to regain their health, but to maintain and sustain it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what we have planned.
Well, it's going to be a fun evening. We have Charlene from Vibrant America coming. She's going to do a presentation and answer everyone's questions, help you decide which test would probably be most appropriate depending on your diet and conditions. She is bringing along a phlebotomist, which is wonderful because it will be a one-stop shop. If you decide that you'd like to have the testing done, Yana will be there. She's wonderful. She can draw your blood and we can get things started. Ideally, the optimal way to do this would be to draw the blood and then begin the elimination diet so you can experience for yourself what it feels like not having the top 10 provocative foods. And then by the time the test gets back, you'll be able to see in black and white which foods you can safely reintroduce and which ones you'd be better off avoiding. Always with the goal of making your diet as big as we can possibly get it. We always want you to be able to add back in as many foods as you possibly can and avoid the ones that your body's just not going to react well to, no matter how hard you try. We'll have light refreshments, and it'll be a fun evening. We'll have to limit attendance because it's the nature of it being a highly personal event. So we hope that whoever's interested will sign up soon.
Yeah, because it's already filling up. I've told a number of people about it, and it's already filling up. So get on the roster, sign up, and show up, because I think it's very, very special, and I believe they're offering a discount for that night.
That night, yes,
Yeah.
Which is very unusual. Normally, it's only reserved for practitioners at conventions, so it's going to be, I believe, 10% off, which is a very rare occurrence for Vibrant.
Yeah, so that's the benefit of coming to the event. Obviously, if you can't make it and you live far, we're going to still be offering that, but we can't offer the 10%. We can't offer a lot of the other little perks of just getting together and having a good time and learning. It's going to be fun. So I invite you to join us. We really look forward to it. When is it, Kathy?
Tuesday, September 24th at 6:30.
So hope to see you there. Bye for now.
Bye.